Okay, guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I learned with the chickens. First of all, let me say that they were very enjoyable. Their characters, they have individual character, and they're a lot of work. So let me show you around and tell you what, in my mind, they need and you should do. Okay, so first of all, and it's very important, chickens are creatures of habit. And if you see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 in there. We had 5 PVC feeding troughs. And we had 2 of these yellow feeder things there. And what you have is, well, first of all, let me say that they have a hierarchy. You have the chickens that are in charge, and you have the chickens that are way down at the bottom of the totem pole. So if you look at this roosting chicken ladder, the ones way on top are the leaders, and then it goes down, and the ones that stay on the floor are again at the bottom of the totem pole. So we had this chicken ladder, this one, and this one. Now, chickens climb to feel safe at night. Now, they're not afraid of snakes and they're not afraid of too many things, but they still get up here to feel safe. So, yeah. Now, as far as habits, this feeding trough could be empty, and you have this one here and this one here, and they could be full and they won't go there. Now, some of them will wander over there. Some of them will wander there, but for the most part, they won't go. They'll wait until you fill them up again, or they'll go look for something somewhere, but they'll leave it alone. So what happens is, once the chicken starts feeding in a certain place, that's where they're going to go. Now, what you do also establishes patterns and habits. This is the feed room. I would come out, fill this one, fill this one, fill this one. Then I would fill this one and the one in there. So the chickens that are in charge get a hold of this one, and the ladder goes down to the trough that's in here, because that's the last one to be full. So the weaker chickens, more docile, whatever you want to say, they will stay behind and eat last. Now, we used to have a net here, but it was open at that end, and it was open at this end. And the reason we had it is because every time we got a new batch of chickens, we have to isolate them because they're younger, they're not part of the rest of the gang, so they have to get used to each other, and slowly you release them into the flock, and they blend in. Of course, some are going to get pecked, but for the most part, they will adapt. Yeah. So With this fence here open at both ends, the chickens that belong over here would stay over here, and the chickens that belonged over here would stay over here. And at times I would have this open, and the ones that belonged in there would stay there. And the ones that belonged here would stay here. Now here, they're not set up right now because we're going to get ready to paint, but I built these stands for the nest. There's that one there, and there's one here. And the reason I built this one here is for the weaker chickens that would have a place to go without feeling all threatened over here. And it worked out just fine. Now normally what you're supposed to do is close access to the nest so that you don't get too many brooding chickens. And for the most part I did not. But I left this open and they could come and go. And as far as the brooding chickens, when I saw one that was sitting around too long, I would pick them up and take them to the other end of the property and have us spend some time out there. Yeah. Now, the other thing I learned is even though you have all this water out here, again, just like the feed, they like a particular water feeder there, and that's where they would go. If it emptied, they would just leave the rest alone. So everybody claimed their own little spot, and that's where they went. It's kind of funny, but that's what they did. Now, these chickens that we had were hybrid, and they're bred to produce eggs, and the majority of the people put them in cages and leave them there their whole life. Now, you get more eggs that way, but I don't believe in that, so I had them in here, I had them loose, and then every morning I would let them out to go out there. And they would roam around all over the place out here. And of course, when we had the chickens, you had the pond there, and they would go around the pond and everywhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an earthquake. Look at the water.
Yeah. It's an earthquake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but look at the water right here.
Yeah, I see.
So, the thing about the chickens is they don't like change. So if you keep changing their feed, you kept changing how they live. If you keep introducing change, the egg production will down. So if you feed them at 6:30, they like to eat at 6:30, at 12, at 5, whatever it is you do, whatever number you pick, that's when they like to eat. So you have to make sure that you do things in such a way that they're consistent, because they do not like change and they don't react well to change. The other thing they don't react good to is, let's say, for example, you come in here and you start catching chickens because you're going to do something with them, or you scare the daylights out of them, the egg production will go down. Yeah. So you have to be very consistent with them in the way that you move about, the way you feed them, everything. Now, depending on the quality of egg that you want, you have to provide enough nutrition to keep them going. Around here, people don't generally buy chicken feed unless it's a commercial egg production or chicken production place. So what they do around here is they turn them loose, and they're free to roam throughout. So, you know, you don't have a fence, you're going to have chickens in your yard, in your porch, poop everywhere, and that's what they do. And you can't blame the chickens because they're only chasing their instincts of surviving and getting something to eat. The other thing they do is they take banana plants and chop them down finely and feed them that. So there's enough to survive, but you don't have the nutrition, the protein level to, you know, get some good quality eggs. Yeah. Now, the other thing that happens with egg producing chickens is you're going to have snakes. And there's really not much you could do about that except listen to your chickens. Now, for the most part, chickens are not scared of snakes, and they don't run and scream, and they will fend off that snake. And yeah, so what you need to do is you need to listen to your chickens. Now, I don't know chicken language, because there is a language. They make a certain noise when they lay an egg. They make a certain noise when they're threatened. They make a certain noise when they're stressed. So there's a different noise for everything that goes on, just like, you know, they're talking to you. But you have to look at what it is that they're doing and saying to learn how to react to it. And if there is a threat, whether it's a snake, a cat, an alligator, something, they will make a noise. And then, of course, the rest of the chickens will act accordingly. They will also make the noise so that they warn everybody that's around. When somebody finds food, they will make a noise and they all come running. So what I used to do is at 12, I would give them a little snack and give them some corn, because there's really no nutrition, but they love corn. So as they get a little bit of, you know, tiny gravel and sand and stuff to help in the digestive process, maybe that's what the corn does for them, I don't know. But either way, they love corn. So at 12, I would do this. And they would come running. They would come running, and they would fly and run and jump, and they would get to the corn, and they loved it. So at 12 o'clock, whether you knew it or not, they were looking for the corn. If you happened to walk out and they saw you, they would all run towards you or towards the fence or whatever, because they knew that it was 12. Just like they knew that in this room, it's the feed room. So as soon as they saw you headed for the door, they would run, especially if they heard this. So as soon as they would hear that clanking noise of that latch, they knew it was time, and they would all run over here. Now, the other thing is that when it rained, for the most part, I would say 99% of them would run in here for shelter, but you would have one dummy out there that was caught in the rain, and once that rain started hitting them, they would just kind of stay there. They didn't find shelter. So on rainy days, I would make sure I kind of look around and make sure that they were all in. Now, before, we used to have this roof here, and actually it ended right there. And it was very limited in space here. And if the rain was coming from here and coming in, they really didn't have anything there. So we added this roof here, and it gave them a lot of room to still be outside, but not wet. So that helped out a lot. Now the other thing that I would do is we have this fish house. And what I would do is I would open this door here and let them go in here. Now, the only danger would be is if they got up on this ledge here and fell in. 99% of the time, they could get out. But there were times, well, there was one time. It only happened once. There was only one time when a chicken fell in, didn't make it out. And why? I don't know. But that happened after many years of me letting them go in here, and never had anything like that. So once that happened, I didn't let them back in. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and here, on top of that little piece of wood, I would put another water container like that here, and they really love that. So you have to experiment with your chickens, and find out what works, because even though they're all chickens, they do have their own personalities and characters and what have you. There was one chicken, before we put in this fence and this gate, over at that end down there, we had a table, cement table, with a piece of plywood over it, and that was not there for any particular purpose. It was just a piece of wood that I had sitting up there, and that one chicken would lay eggs there. And when we built this, we kept it in here for the most part, most of the time. And that one chicken would pace back and forth and come, and as soon as it'd see me, it'd run, and it would wait right there. I'd open the gate, and it'd go out, and it'd kind of hang out here a little bit here, and then it would make its way to that thing and lay his egg and then come back. So they are creatures of habit. So if they like to lay their egg in a particular place, that's where they're going to do it. Now you can change that, but yeah, it was okay. Now the thing is, if you're going to get chickens, make sure you set up your coop first. Make sure that you set up your nest, your feeding troughs, everything. Now here in Thailand, they have vets, but they don't do chickens. They do cats and dogs. Now, I'm sure there's a vet that knows something about chickens, but they're hard to find because they're 1 in a million. When I first got chickens, I had a chicken that was a little slow, and I took him to the vet, and they go, don't know anything about chickens. Now, they do have like a county extension office where you have somebody that can help you with information and give you ideas of what to do and give you a little bit of guidance. Well, they have these here, but they won't help you. Why? I won't say. But it goes the same thing for the fish. When we set up the fish tanks in the fish pond, there's a guy that lives down the road that worked for the hatchery. Wouldn't come. I told him I'd pay him. Nope, wouldn't come. So, yeah, that's how it is. Now, I don't know if it has anything to do with they don't want you to have something that they don't have, or I don't know. But either way, it is what it is. So all this chicken experience for me was the school of hard knocks. I did what I thought was best for them. I did what I came up with. Yeah. So the other thing we would do is from time to time we added some vitamins to their water. And we do this for 3 days in a row. And the other thing we did is on occasions we gave them some calcium. We wanted to give them some like crushed oyster shells and stuff, but we could never find them anywhere. So we just made sure that they had sand and some coarse sand, and they would go through and find what they needed. So yeah, that's how that goes. So as far as how to treat them for this or that, it's your guess, because you could go to a pet store where they would have medication, antibiotics, all kinds of medicine stuff, but they would tell you use this one, use that one, and you would be taking your chances. But for the most part, we didn't give them antibiotics or anything like that. We tried to keep them as organic as possible. So, we did give them some vitamins and stuff like that, but that was about it. The other thing we did give them is because we had fish, and during the change of weather and what have you, some would die. We'd throw them out there on the garden bed, and these characters would go through and pick at them until they ate the fish. So yeah. But all in all, we had a good experience with the chickens. Oh, the other thing is, you could have a chicken walking around, jumping around, laughing, joking, and boom, the next day it's dead. So they, out of nowhere, from good condition to dead, it happens very, very quickly. Now, it didn't happen very often, but you don't really know why they died. They just do. Yeah. So that's another thing you have to expect if you're going to have chickens. You have to be able to deal with the loss of your chickens. So if you have, pets. Now, there are some breeds that last a long, long time, and they don't really die off very quickly, and they last for years and years. But these hybrid ones, because of egg production and stuff, they sometimes die. The other thing is, the dangers of feeding them too much is they get ascites, which is fluid in their belly. And they get really full of fluid, and then they get to the point where they can't walk anywhere anymore, and they have problems, you know, just breathing and what have you. So you have to take a needle and take some of this fluid out, but you can't take out too much because then that changes their internal pressure and they'll just die. So every now and then, if you had one, you have to take some of the fluid out so that they could get back to semi-normal and run around, lay eggs, and eat. Yeah. So if you can't do some of these things and you can't, put up with them dying every now and then, you better not get any chickens because that'll be rough on you. So, yeah. But eventually, we got rid of the chickens because I was tired of getting up at, well, I got up early every morning, but coming out here at 6:30. And the thing about these characters is they know what time it is, and they'll start screaming, making all kinds of noise, and they expect you to do this. And whether it's raining or snowing or thundering or light, they don't care. 6:30, they want to be let out. Even if they just walk out the door and stand under this roof here, that's what they want to do. Yeah. So the only other thing I could tell you is the feed. If you buy the commercial feed, they come in 30-kilo bags, and you will have rats because they come and they want to feed on all the feed that's on the ground and all over the place. And back here, this is all rice fields, so you are going to get some little mice that come in, not big rats, but little mice. But those little mice are also very destructive. So we kept our food in there, and I would open the bags and put them inside a plastic trash can. And the same thing with the corn, and that would keep them from, chewing through the bags or anything, and yeah. So for the most part, we didn't have a major problem with any mice and stuff. So yeah, and then of course all these characters here, they would see them run across here and they'd just attack it, and so for the most part, you didn't have any major infestation of mice. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, if you have any specific questions, let me know and I'll try to answer what I know and what I did, and yeah. Oh, one more thing, mosquitoes. Even though for the most part the whole chicken coop thing is open for the wind to go through and stuff, mosquitoes are a big thing. So what we did is we put this mosquito netting on both sides here, and this chain link fence here was the major area that it was open, and we put that mosquito netting on there, and it eliminated probably 95% of the mosquitoes, and the rest of them the chickens would eat. Every morning you'd see the chickens going along this wall in the corners, and whatever was there they would eat. Now, in the rainy season, you have a bigger problem. So what we would do is at night, we would put, here's these wires, we would hang on the wires some of those purple mosquito ring burner things, and that helped them out a lot. Yeah, it really did. So, yeah, mosquitoes. They could be a nuisance even to you. All right, guys. This is all for now. So like I said, if you have any questions or whatever, let me know. And if you know something, put in a comment. Let the other people know so that they can, learn something. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.
บ๊ายบาย